What's up, guys? So I'm going to break down my exact funnel strategy that I use for brands like this to scale to thousands of dollars a day. And I'm going to break it down exactly, fully, not going to leave out anything, every information that you need, because you guys are being bombed right now with lots of information, lots of stuff about funnels that I don't believe is 100% true like it is. And everything works. This is really important to understand before getting into this video, is that everything works. There's not a better strategy than something else. Of course, you should pick something and that get really good at it. But this is like kind of basing off of my iteration approach that I try to take with everything. Is essentially just testing, doing a sprint, a test, and then just retesting with the data that you've bought. And so, with that being said, before we get into anything, the testing order when it comes to funnels is this, right? The very highest leverage, biggest impact test that you can have is the funnel type, right? Doesn't matter what the headline is, doesn't matter what the copy says, what the pictures are, what the topic is, what the awareness stage is, it does not matter. The highest leverage thing is the funnel type. Now the second thing after that is going to be the topic and or headline, right? So headline, specifically what I mean by this is like, for example, how many disqualifiers do you put in them? For example, do you actually drop the price, drop the offer in the headline? A lot of listicles, advertorials do that in order to disqualify people and warm up people even more, right? And then only below that comes the copy and the media, right? And so this is like already trying to kind of like discredit everyone. What you guys are hearing basically right now is that the copy is everything, right? Use 100 different AI, ChatGPT, Claude SOPs, and then the copy is going to make or break your funnel. It's really not, right? The media and the copy is only the very lowest impact test that you can have. And you will realize if you run an A/B test with only the copy being different, the results are not going to be that crazy, okay? The funnel type is actually the highest impact test, biggest leverage test that you can run. And so the lower scale you are, obviously the more you should position yourself higher up in the testing order. This applies to creatives too. But let's actually get into what you need if you're just starting out. If you are starting out, right, then you have to understand and crack and make work the ad to product page funnel. You don't need a listicle, an advertorial, a VSL, a quiz funnel, nothing. You only need an ad and a product page. You only specifically need to get really good at writing good hooks and editing good hooks, and then obviously having a good offer on your product page. That's it. If you validate these two things, then you're going to be able to very easily, very quickly scale to 1 to 3K days. This is not going to be the stuff that's holding you back. So if you're not at this scale yet, right, at your product market fit yet of 1 to 3K per day, then you don't have like a funnel problem. Your funnel is absolutely not the issue, because if you implement any extra friction into your funnel at this stage, what's going to happen is you're going to disqualify everyone. Everyone's going to drop off. Everyone's going to leave the page, right? They're not going to stay. They're not going to go to the product page. And it's just going to be fewer people to actually validate the most important thing on your store, which is ultimately your offer in the first place. Only if you have already validated these two things and you are at a certain scale will it actually make sense to implement on longer funnels, because this is something which in e-com no one really talks about, but this is a very classic business rule. You always add more friction, make it harder and longer for people to buy whenever you have a quality problem, right? So there's two different types of problems that you can have with leads, with, people coming to your store. There's either a quality problem, right? With the, you get a lot of leads, you get a lot of people, a lot of traffic, but they don't convert that well. Other problem is you have a good conversion rate or decent conversion rate, but you don't get anyone on your store, right? And if you're below 1 to 3K a day, you have a volume problem. You don't have a quality problem. Like, your conversion rate is not going to be like the biggest issue that you have is not getting enough people to your store, not having enough people know who you are, what your brand is about, right? And if you would get 3 times the traffic, you would make 3 times the sale at this stage. And that is your main focus at this stage, okay? So if you have a volume problem, which you do if you're below 1 to 3K a day, obviously you're not going to want to add in more friction. Adding more friction is the way to fix a quality problem, because it's going to be fewer people that go through the entire funnel, but they're going to be warmed up and they're going to be filtered through the best ones, and you're once again fixing the quality problem. On the other hand, if you add more friction into the volume problem, it's going to be even less people that come through, right? But you don't have a quality problem anyway, so you're just going to literally cut the people that see the offer in half, right? And that does not make any sense at all. Now you're going to figure this out and you're going to scale this this up until the conversion rate breaks. It might actually be above 1 to 3K a day. A lot of people scale to 10K a day, maybe more than that, with just add to product page. And this funnel is well and alive, right? This is not a dead funnel type or anything like that. This is well and alive. This works super well. And obviously you don't let anyone tell you otherwise. This is a super valid funnel, and this is why you obviously see competitors doing it in the ads library. If it was dead, no one would be doing it anymore, but everyone does, kind of. So you need to understand this and actually really apply this and crack this funnel, because this is the easiest funnel type. This is the easiest funnel type to make work as well. Like, you shouldn't even think about touching advertorials unless you've really know how to validate offers and know how to make really good ads. Okay, really, really important to understand this at first. And you're going to basically, when you figure this out, you're going to scale until the conversion breaks, because there's going to come a point where you reach a certain scale that your conversion rate won't be able to keep up with the volume. And that is exactly when you go from having a volume problem to having a quality problem. Okay, now, once this breaks, you're going to just scale it back to where it was profitable, and you're going to keep it running. This is really important for every funnel type that we add scale. You don't turn the old things off and just move on completely. No, this is then going to transition later on into your middle of funnel, bottom of funnel traffic. And there's nothing wrong with that, right? Because right now it's all the traffic you get, but you don't want to stay at this point, but you also don't want to lose your momentum. So there's no point in turning these off. And there's also no point, in my opinion, to changing the landing page, right? You don't have to change the landing page of your best ads or whatever. Just duplicate the campaign, make a new campaign, and then add, new ads there. Because this is another thing that we're going to learn in this video, is that the ad has to match the funnel type. And it doesn't matter what types of ads you send to the product page versus a listicle versus an advertorial versus a quiz or VSL funnel, okay? Very, very different things, okay? So now, I want you to understand one more thing, which is A/B testing. This is what we're going to do from now on all the way through the end, right? A/B testing means that you have two different offers or funnels or whatever at the same time, and random half of your traffic gets redirected to one funnel, the other half to the other funnel. And you can see in real time with the same traffic quality, same traffic source, right? Same campaign, for example, which funnel is better, which funnel makes you more money per visitor, okay? Very important. Now, what you're gonna do, the very first thing that we do whenever we realize, okay, conversion rate breaks at this one, we're at 1 to 3K a day, maybe above, is we're going to implement listicles. Listicles are not a lot of friction. Typically, they're not super long, and they are pretty aware. Meaning that, it's not going to be a case of, okay, you disqualify everyone and you tell everyone new things. No, it's going to be obviously a lot of times like X reasons why, or 5 ways to, or whatever, right? And then you kind of give reasons and benefits of the product and basically just warm people up. It's like, it's very positive friction, right? There's not a lot of people that are going to be disqualified by this, but however, also not a huge impact on the conversion rate. This is just to kind of boost things, to kind of shift the plateau upwards from these 1 to 3K a day. Now, the A/B test specifically that we're going to run here is going to be a product-based listicle, right? So something about the product, benefits about the product, reasons why people are switching to the product, whatever, versus a problem-based listicle. So X ways to solve problem XYZ, right? Listicles overall are just numbers of like a specific number and then reasons or ways or blah, blah, blah to do something, okay? Very important. And then after these, you're going to just send them to the product page again, right? So now that we have the results of this here, you're going to clearly see which one performs better. Now, this is already pretty important to understand that you can send the same ad type to these guys here than you would, for example, to these down here, which I'm going to get into in a second. But it's really important to keep in mind and understand that you're going to figure out here which one is significantly better because of the A/B test, right? And then you're just going to move on, take the winning listicle. And so, for example, let's say the product-based wins, right? Let's say product-based listicle makes a lot more RPV because the ads are super aware. Fair enough. What we're going to do now is we're actually going to send them, right, to the same listicle, but we're going to now write 2 different headlines. Now, the headlines, before you test them here, can actually test in terms of like how you test your hooks too, or how I test my hooks, which is basically putting them on blank image ads with just white backgrounds and just literally text on them, and that's all, right? And then if you test like 20, 30 headlines like this and just take the ones with the best CTRs, right, and then put them basically on these headlines of the listicle, of the winning listicle from this test, and then do another A/B test with two different headlines. We're going to once again figure out which one is the best headline for this listicle. And you're going to do this, you're going to iterate this until this is really maximized, right? So until you see no big noticeable difference. Once again, if you get too specific, if you go too much down the testing order, we just want to reset it and add in a new funnel type. And this is when the advertorials come in. Now, to be fair here, right? Obviously, once again, and this is what I want to mention, what I'm going to mention next funnel type as well, is even, yes, you figure this out and then you keep it running. And once again, when we move on to the advertorials and anything after that, you keep the current stuff running, right? So now optimal case is, okay, you have a listicle structure, which works really well. You have a product page, add to product page structure, which works really, really well. And now we're just moving once again up the testing order and starting again at the funnel type, okay? So the next funnel type that you want to kind of run is going to be basically once again an A/B test between advertorials. And I have actually immediately like kind of go down here to the next thing, which is the headline, next testing order thing, because I definitely want you guys to do separate like A/B tests for like a separate structure for advertorial specifically, because here you see we have product based versus problem based. Here you see we have quiz versus VSL. But for advertorial, I'd like to have a specific structure here, like separate from everything else, because advertorials are actually the best funnel type, like after this one up here that you can run. Like advertorials are very, very powerful. And so the test that you're going to jump into immediately is going to be the headline test, right? So once again, we're going to do a hook test or a headline test in terms of image ads, blank. We're going to look at them, which ones have the highest CTR, new pixel and everything. And you're just going to put these as the headlines of the same advertorial, right? And then sending them to the product page or order page or whatever. And then once again, if they work, if you figure this out too, you just keep the stuff running and don't turn anything off emotionally. This is very, very important, right? Now, obviously I haven't written this down here, but what you will also do for all of these is, when you figure them out, like obviously you move down the testing order and test the copy and the media too, right? So here in the listicle, as well as obviously also in the product page stuff, as well as here, right, which is the advertorial, we're going to then test the media and the copy, right? We're going to A/B test maybe different pictures, we're going to A/B test different, maybe like, ways of saying certain things. But once again, a very low impact test, even though everyone on YouTube says otherwise right now. This is not going to have a big impact when you run this test. It's not going to be a major difference, but it is definitely, it can definitely give you 10-20% uplifts in performance, but it's not going to double the performance, never. Okay, very important to keep in mind. Now, once again, like I said, keep it running, and then you're going to get started on the very longest, most friction, most unaware funnel types that you can imagine. And that will be quiz funnel versus VSL funnel. So this A/B test is basically the quiz funnel, like is something which is just a bunch of questions like people will click on, multiple choice. And then below that, we have a VSL funnel. VSL, a video sales letter. A lot of people for some reason know it in ecom as an ad, a VSL ad. People think that's a type of ad, whereas it's not really a separate type of ad. A VSL is a video sales letter, typically used on websites, for example, whenever you see someone on a website speaking. And yes, there's also VSL ads, but a VSL, good old definition of a video sales letter, is just this video on your website, right? So in your case, in ecom, on your store. So what you're going to do is you're going to have this VSL on there, right? It's going to look like, the advertorial. It's going to sound like the advertorial. It's going to be in the form of a video. So we have a lot of B-roll footage in there, a lot of stock footage. It's going to basically look like a VSL ad, but it's going to be, an introduction of a brand. It's going to be super, super long. And the whole point is that people consume all that content, and a lot of them will leave. This is actually the most two friction type funnels. That's why I grouped them up together, that you can have, because these will disqualify most of the people, but they also will warm everyone up very, very high. So the people that do actually click through to the product page will be extremely, extremely, extremely warmed up and convert at an extremely high level. And you attract higher quality customers with these, so they also pay more, spend more money also in, for example, the post-purchase funnel, right? So this is very, very important to keep in mind too. Now, what I mentioned here, and this is what I'm going to get into a little bit now, is that the type of ad that you run has to match the funnel type, okay? So And I'll give you an example for this, right? A lot of people, whenever they, hear, oh, run an advertorial, right? So they go to AI, they use 100 SOPs, and then they write some pretty decent, pretty bad, pretty okay advertorial, right? And they don't A/B test, they don't do anything. They've never even had a winner with this funnel. They don't understand it. They don't A/B test their offers. And then what they do is they run some solution aware or some, let's say, some image ads to an advertorial, right? Obviously, it's ridiculous because the thing is, like, keep this in mind, right? If something is more aware, if you have more aware traffic on your creatives, you already disqualify everyone who's unaware. Now, these people that you attract with a UGC or with an image ad are not going to be that unaware that you need an advertorial to warm them up. So what's going to happen is you're just going to disqualify the rest of the people that you have. And this is why this is so hard, because the ad type has to match the funnel type, okay? The only way an unaware funnel makes sense is if your ad gets you unaware clicks, right? That's why you need this funnel in the first place. A funnel is just a solution to a problem. A longer funnel or a pre-sales page is not what sets you apart. It's just, okay, well, now I need it, so it's like when you're sick, you take medication. That's a pre-sales page. Okay, my people are getting too unaware. Now I need to warm them up again because my conversion rate drops. You don't start with this in order to, I'm gonna, outcompete everyone by having an advertorial. That's not really how that works. It's just like, if your ad is super unaware and that's the type of traffic that you get, then that's the type of funnel that you put in, and nothing else, right? You don't need any other funnel type than this to get to a decent scale. And for a lot of you guys watching this video, if you're just starting out, this, you might think that, maybe a lot of people will probably say that this would be enough for them, right? So that this funnel structure, that this, scale, this level of scale, 1 to 3K a day would be not too much and not, completely enough. They would be happy if they got here. And you don't get here by doing this, right? This is like, it's significantly more difficult to crack an advertorial funnel structure than just this one, right? And you don't need to be different on that level, right? Differentiating happens on the ad side of things and on the offer side of things. These are the highest leverage things in the beginning, right? So offers are only something that you add in when you realize conversion rate is dropping, and it's not ad fatigue. It's actually that, people get too unaware. That's when you start to add in longer funnels. Now, that was pretty much it for this video, guys. Hope you could learn a thing or two. I want to say thank you so much for giving me your most important asset, which is your attention. Thank you so much. I wish you a beautiful day.